Hey y'all, I have had this plan for a while to make this announcement and tell you guys something I'm up to right now on February the 6th. It just so happens this is the morning that we find out we lost country music legend Toby Keith. And so that's interesting because that's what I want to talk about. Whenever we experience loss or shock in this way, even with a country music legend, we have this tendency to look inward and to try to fortify ourselves so that we could be a rock as we're processing our own mortality and thinking about how fragile life is. We think, well, life is fragile, life is fleeting, life is a vapor, so I'm going to fortify myself and do everything I can to make myself stronger so that people could lean on me, right? So that I could be the rock of the family. That's the way I used to think. And it occurred to me, what does the rock lean on? And I realized that's just a really bad analogy. And that was unhelpful for me to be thinking that way. So then I started thinking, well, maybe I should think more in terms of a tree that can be strong, but it bends. It loses limbs occasionally. It'll lose its leaves every season. And a tree has roots that go down and intertwines with other trees in the forest, right? And it gets its nutrients from the ground, and it absorbs the water that it needs from the ground. But then the more I thought about that analogy, I thought, well, if I'm a tree and I do get my nourishment from the roots, from people around us, a tree never focuses on the ground. In fact, it dies if it focuses on the ground. A tree only survives if it reaches up, always up toward the light. And that analogy is, there's a parallel story to that in my book, Like a River. But today I want to announce a new book called Up Toward the Light. And it's about just that. And it's a story of processing that. This is a kid's book, but I think it could be helpful for kids and parents alike. Processing these thoughts about our own mortality and what is a helpful way to think about loss. Maybe this particular story is about a boy losing his grandpa. And he has a conversation with a tree, a very wise tree. And I hope it could be helpful for you. This comes out April the 2nd. And I'm going to talk more about it. And I think it's a beautiful book. And I'm very excited about it. I'm excited for people to see it. And you could pre-order it right now if you want to. If that means something to you, you could pre-order it right now on the places that you like to buy books. But I'll be talking more about this. And I think this is going to be an important project for me so that we could all stop worrying about what's down below and start realizing that we have to.
Good morning.
Sorry I had to break the news to you with that text. Tell us about your friend Toby Keith.
Man, I think so many people know what I know is, he was such an incredible talent, and he loved his family like he loved his country. And we should also not forget what a fun guy he was. I was thinking just when I heard the news just 30 minutes ago that it just started going through my head of all the award shows and after parties, whether it was in the back of Losers picking guitars, or we're at a golf tournament, or out in Los Angeles, or so many different spots throughout the years. He was just a great, great guy. We called him Big Dog. He was a large man.
Yeah, he's like a guy's guy, right? I mean, look at him signing guitars, military, the Red Solo Cup, loved wrestling, loved football. What was he like? Do you remember any stories?
Oh man, stories for days. One time he saved my butt. There was I won't get into it, but there was an incident out. I was after, I think, an award show in Los Angeles, and I'll never forget this. And there was a ruckus, and things got crazy. And next thing, I'm kind of sprawled out on a lawn outside a hotel with a bunch of cops around me in a helicopter. And Toby kind of stepped in. He said, "Hey, man, I remember the cops saying, 'Back up, big boy.'" And he kind of handled the situation so elegantly. He kind of came over and smoothed things over. And I can't remember, it was either myself or him who the next morning was going on another trip to entertain the troops in the Middle East.
I'm not a big fan from Toby. Blake Shelton is remembering his long-term friend and country icon Toby Keith. After Keith passed peacefully at age 62 on Monday night, Shelton remembered the country icon on Twitter. He said, "Even though I knew about your battle these last few months, I never imagined this day. Anyone who knew you knows what I mean," wrote this 47-year-old singer on Tuesday. He continued and said, "You were the toughest man I ever met. Thank you, brother, for being a friend, a hero, and an inspiration. There will never be another Toby Keith," concluded the fellow Oklahoma native. During the 2023 People's Choice Country Awards last September, Shelton presented Keith with the Country Music Icon Awards. At the time, Keith told People, an online press company, that he had known Shelton forever. "I took him out when I first got a headliner status early on, and I was his first big tour he got," said the late musician. "He lived in Oklahoma, so we are kindred spirits, a lot alike," Keith added. "We have fun together." Along with Shelton, several more country music stars mourned the loss of the icon, including Carrie Underwood, Dolly Parton, Jason Aldean, Old Dominion, Luke Bryan, Jelly Roll, Zach Bryan, Dan and Shay, and Luke Combs, as well as Reba McEntire and Chuck Wicks and others. Rest in power, King.